If you have ever wanted to make a dramatic shift or change in your life, well, watch today's video because we're going to talk about why paradigm shifts are important. So do you ever find yourself in life where you're just in a negative or unhappy or depressed state, and you look around yourself, you look at your life, and it just seems like nothing works out for you? It seems like your relationships are all unhappy. You have people in your life that you can't depend on. Everything that you try tends to go wrong. And it really creates a situation or a feeling of hopelessness, of wanting to give up. Well, today we're going to talk about the importance of a paradigm shift. And before we talk about a paradigm shift, let's make sure that we all understand what a paradigm is. So Stephen Covey in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People talks about a paradigm as being like a lens through which we look at the world. And so that lens sometimes can distort reality, sometimes it can enhance reality, but regardless, the lens that we look through changes what we are seeing. So there's 2 basic paradigms that exist and through which most people live and operate in this world, and the paradigm of abundance and a paradigm of scarcity. And it's just that when I'm looking through that lens of abundance, all I see is good and positive. I see love, I see cooperation, I see win-win, I see creation, I see happiness, joy, contentment. When I take those lenses off, the world itself doesn't change. But if I put on the lens of scarcity, all of a sudden everything changes for me. Because what I see is lack, scarcity, unhappiness, sadness, pain, misery, all of the things that create those feelings of unhappiness. And the truth is, nothing has changed other than our perspective. And if you look around in your life, you can find examples of situations like that where just with new information, all of a sudden the way you were looking at one thing changes. Maybe there's a situation where you're struggling financially and you don't know where the money is going to come from, and you're in this fear-based, this place of lack, that there's not enough. And then something will happen, an idea or somebody comes into your life or something changes, and all of a sudden the money is there. The truth is the money was there all along. All of the money in the world exists. It's out there. But if you don't see it, that's just because of the paradigm that you're in. If you can change your paradigm, you can begin to see things that have been there all along, but maybe you were unable to see before. The importance of a paradigm shift, that's more important than anything else, because our circumstances, our situation, our happiness, all that we experience in life, it's determined by the paradigm through which we are looking and what we are feeling and experiencing. You can take any situation in life and you can find something wrong with it. You can find a reason to be unhappy, but you can also take any situation and with it, you can find a reason to be happy. So Viktor Frankl experienced and learned this when he spent time in a concentration camp. And he was able to observe the other individuals in the concentration camp, all of them in the same camp, in the same setting, experiencing the same thing, and yet experiencing it differently. So some individuals went through that experience and they gave up, became hopeless, and either died through just giving up and becoming hopeless or committed suicide. There were others that became angry and filled with hate and took that hate and anger out on others. And then there were others that responded to it with love and found the positive in that situation. So that's an example of the situation doesn't determine what our experience is like. We get to determine it by the thoughts and the beliefs and the paradigm through which we are looking at the world. So I can share with you just one quick, simple example of how a shift in paradigm changes everything. You can look at things that happen like 9/11, when the Twin Towers were destroyed and many lives were taken. And a lot of people experienced that event and survived that event. But because of that experience, they shifted their paradigm and the way they looked at themselves and their life. And many people, as a result of that experience, which was a very negative experience, and a lot of people were harmed through that. But just as there was a lot of negative and lives lost, there were many, many lives that were changed and for the better because of that experience, and people who kind of woke up and looked at their life and said, what am I doing with my life? I was living my life in a way that I felt like I had forever to live, or I was stuck in a job and I felt like I had no other option, that I had to stay in this job. But because of that experience, there was a shift in what were priorities and what was important. And many people made a dramatic shift in their life, allowing them to experience much more happiness and a life that they really wanted to experience, instead of feeling like they were stuck and had no options because of the paradigm through which they were looking at the world. That's a simple example, but we can find them all around us. So I encourage you to become aware of the lens that you're looking at the world. Are you looking at it through a lens of possibilities and what can be? Or are you looking at your life through a lens of scarcity and limitations and all of the reasons why things can't be the way that you want them to be? I would encourage you, if you're in that place of scarcity, take off those lenses, put on the lenses of abundance, see if the world doesn't look differently to you, see if your experiences don't change, and see if you don't find much more happiness, peace, and the joy that you're seeking in your life. Thanks for watching today. Subscribe to our channel, and if you'd like to know more about who we are and what we're doing, visit our website below.